We all know the feeling of mixing a track, it's sounding great in our studio, we're already excited to release the track or to put it in our next beat pack to send it off to some artists. But then we export the beat, we listen to it on our phone, on our AirPods, and it sounds absolutely trash. I've definitely been there too, but over the years I found a way to fix this problem, which I also teach in my Mixing Made Simple 2.0 PDF. It's basically a system that I've used to mix my own tracks, release them on DSPs, and also mix and produce for artists who have over 100k monthly listeners, and so on and so forth. So let's find out why this issue happens in the first place. Now, it's actually quite simple. The reason this happens to you is because you're mixing in one room, which is your studio, and you're probably only listening to your mix on one pair of speakers. However, in the real world, when we listen to our mix, there are so many things that influence how it sounds. So it's not just the speakers, but it's also the room you're in. So these things will change how your mix sounds. And on your speakers in your studio, you don't have any idea of how that will sound. So what really changed the game for me were the following three things that I do whenever I mix my tracks. The first thing is that while I mix my track, yes, my studio monitors are my main reference. However, I will try to switch up the reference as much as I can. So I will not only use my monitors, I might also use my headphones, I might also use my AirPods, and I might even only use the speakers that I have on my laptop. So doing this will help me make the right decisions that translate throughout many different speakers and not only throughout my studio monitors. Now, the second thing that I do is that during my mixing process, I will use a mid-range filter. And the way I do it is that I use the plugin called Adapter Metric AB, which is a great plugin that you can put on your master chain and you can analyze your mix, your master, and there are also some filters that you can apply on your whole mix. However, you don't need this plugin to do this. You can also just pull up an EQ, remove some low frequencies, remove some high frequencies, and then use bypass or activation to have a filter that you can then apply on your mix. Now, the reason I do this is because the mid-range is what translates the most throughout smaller speakers like your phone or anything that doesn't have much bass or high end in them. Also, most elements inside of our mixes like chords, keys, melodies, guitars, claps, snares are in the mid-range. So if we can balance the mid-range, everything else will kind of fall into place quite easily. So using this filter will help you balance your track more easily because you actually only hear what's most important inside of your mix. And finally, I use a revision system that is very easy and simple. So even if I do these first two things, my mixes aren't perfect from the first export on. So I will export my track and I will listen to it on as many speakers as I can. And obviously the best reference is going to be the speakers that I use the most in my day-to-day life. So for me personally, it's my AirPods and also the speakers inside of my car. So what I will do is I will listen to it on all these different speakers and I won't just go back to my mix and start from zero again and think, oh shit, the mix is trash, I need to start everything again now. But I will be very systematic about it. So I will listen to the mix in detail and I will note down everything that I want to change in the mix. So once I go back to mixing again, it's key that I only change the things that I wrote down. And the reason I do this is because I can't count the times that I came back to my mix and I started from zero again. I started changing things that were actually fine, and then I ended up with a mix that's even worse than my first mix. So doing this will help you only change the things that are actually disturbing you and keeping everything else that you actually like. This way you will actually get closer to the mix that you want and not get even further and work against yourself there. So these are the three steps that I use to make my mixes sound good on any speakers. So if this helped you at all, this is only one step of my 6-step mixing system. The whole system is available in my PDF Mixing Made Simple, and you can get it for only $9.99 in the link below. It's super practical and it will help you mix better, faster, and make your beats sound more professional instantly. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.